Of course, we welcome back Javier Manjarres. He's the managing editor of the Shark Tank, that great political website. And here, screen right where he belongs, but to my left on the set, which I don't know about that, is my old pal Doug Giles, who's the editor of ClashDaily.com and, of course, the author of the book Rise, Kill, and Eat, A Theology of Hunting. I tried to get that for Father's Day for my dad, but I don't think it was quite out yet. But I'll get it. His birthday's coming, so we'll get that done.
That's a hint right there.
We'll get that. And
I'll hook you up, brother.
Before we get to Second Amendment issues and hunting and some other topics, Javier, quick take on international politics and the breaking news out of Iraq. The president made the announcement last night, and when I heard him say airstrikes, if needed, I didn't think we would see anything, but the airstrike started today.
Didn't take long.
Your take on this, is it too little too late, or is it the right response?
No, it's the right response. He should have done, well, it could be perceived as being too little too late, because he should have done this a long time ago, when ISIS first started coming into power, when they first started pushing and killing all of these Iraqi citizens. He should have made a play there, but he did it. But again, he's doing it now, so let's see where this goes.
All right. So we will do that, and now we'll return to these shores and our Constitution and the Second Amendment. Doug, Gun Owners of America sending a letter to the White House asking the White House to fix their description of the Second Amendment on the White House website. The website says the Second Amendment gives citizens the right to bear arms, but then the organization points out that citizens inherently possess those rights from God. It's laid out by the founders. And the government is forced to respect those rights that are God-given. Is this a manipulation of language by the White House at the website whitehouse.gov?
Well, you know, Obama's administration is definitely not a fan of the firearms. Anytime any kind of firearm-related catastrophe happens, they're always doing a grab for our holster. So yeah, I mean, we get the Gunners of America and the National Rifle Association. I mean, they're the necessary watchdog, because you know the communist in chief, he is not down with the owning of weapons. So any kind of manipulation of language regarding firearms is something that we need to be on like stink on a monkey.
Well, being the author of a book, there's another book that we want to talk about. There's a new children's book that came under fire recently. The book is called My Parents Open Carry, and it's a bestseller on Amazon. The book's authors say they were motivated because they believe children are being raised with a biased view of the Constitution and the Second Amendment. Do you agree with that assessment? Is a book like this, is that a good way to get the conversation started?
Well, first of all, Miranda, I was born in Texas, so I came out of my mother's womb holding a 30-30 Winchester lever action. So absolutely, and I know Brian.
Pardon me, pal.
You gotta get them all choked up right there.
Yeah, so
I'm just swigging my tea back here. Go ahead, yes sir.
Yeah, so absolutely, I think it's a great thing. I know Brian Jeffs. I was telling Javier before we came on the show, I was up in Lansing, Michigan, being the keynote for this open carry rally. And I met Brian, the author of the book, and he showed me this big old kind of comic book, cartoon, color it in thing about My Parents Open Carry. And he says, "What do you think?" I said, "Dude, it's just a matter of time before somebody tumbles onto this thing and it becomes a bestseller." So we tried to pimp it out on ClashDaily.com. Sales were pretty much okay. And then all of a sudden, Bill Maher and Steve Colbert grab a hold of it, and they start ridiculing, educating kids about firearms. And the next thing you know, the cash register starts ringing for Mr. Jeffs, and it brings this thing to the forefront. We've got to educate our kids on guns. My daughter Hannah, who destroyed Acorn, and my youngest daughter Regis, who has her website, Girls Just Want to Have Guns, at 22 years old, we've taught them from the time they were knee-high to a grasshopper about guns, how to handle guns, how to take care of guns, how to be safe with guns. And you know what? We're not crazy serial killers, but we're responsible provider, protectors, hunters, and heroes. And don't ever jack, Miranda, with our house. It could be really bad for you.
But should there be limitations on what kind of guns people should own? I mean,
absolutely not. I mean, that's what the British said, you know, before the Revolutionary War started.
So semi-automatic weapons, you're in favor for?
Absolutely. You got to be kidding me.
Do girls really just want to have guns? Do you have a gun?
I do not own a gun.
Okay. Miranda, have you ever been?
But I have fired a gun. I have been to a firing range. Yes, I have.
You know, most people never that down here in South Florida that have an aversion to gun, they're always that way until somebody sticks a pistol in their face at an intersection, or while they're pumping gas, and all of a sudden, boom! It's a miracle. They're all of a sudden converted to our friendly wood and metal friend called the firearm.
We want to talk about a Newsmax poll that came out. Newsmax.com actually did a poll on this very topic, and it actually came to the conclusion that it's not just gun owners who are dissatisfied with Obama, that a lot of people are concerned about Obama, his administration, with appointees like Eric Holder, who is known not to be a huge advocate for guns. Do you
Unless you're a Mexican drug cartel and he wants to get you some via Fast and Furious.
Yeah, we're still looking for that Fast and Furious.
Where did it
Right.
go, JD?
And well, we have executive privilege, shades of Richard Nixon. Let me get in that political discussion about this. The current White House being anti-Second Amendment. Is this the issue that by and large galvanizes the Republican Party, the establishment, and the grassroots?
Yeah, it's one of the issues, absolutely. Look, people are endeared to their guns. I was talking, like Doug was saying, we spoke earlier, and 2 million some odd people can't be wrong. They are gun owners. I mean, I'm a gun owner. I concealed weapons license. I don't know if Doug has a concealed weapons license. A lot of us
Carrying
do.
right now, bro.
This, are you packing now?
Always.
I'm always packing a big gun. But anyways,
He's lying on television.
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
yes, it is an issue that the Republicans can galvanize behind, and it's a winning issue for them.
I think, like Miranda said, it's not just a Republican issue. I mean, I live in Aventura. That's not the citadel of right-wing extreme.
Aventura, Florida, for
Right.
those who are not familiar with the area. But
Yeah, and they're left, right, and center. All of them cherish their own lives and the lives of their family. And when they saw, again, the egregious overreach during, catastrophes like Sandy Hook or the Aurora shooting or Gabby Giffords, they're like, wait a minute, that had nothing to do with legal, law-abiding citizens having the right to keep and bear arms and protect their person. So, yeah, it's galvanized them against Obama very effectively.
Well, I live in East Fort Lauderdale. It's very left, and left. So yeah, I hear you.
it's like a bad shopping cart.
Exactly.
It sounds, despite the debate that happens after one of these horrible events, it sounds as if this becomes not so much a left-right issue than a right-wrong issue, and people instinctively don't want to give up their constitutional freedoms when we get in this situation. Now, Doug, on your website, clashdaily.com, you have a column about how the left tries to frame policy arguments by demonizing the right. Here's what you said here. In fact, we pulled the quote. The beautiful thing about the left is that they've trained the general public via the public school system for the last 4 decades to believe their blather, and thus anyone who disagrees with them is deemed by their ubiquitous foot soldiers to be the scourge of the earth. What do we need to do in classrooms, or what needs to happen for parents to recapture the classroom from the left?
I wouldn't send my kids to a public school. My kids are out of school, and they did go to public school at Highland Oaks over there outside of Aventura. But you know what? At 186% overcrowded rates, when these punks are threatening my kids' life, talking all kinds of trash, and the class can't calm down for the 45 minutes for the teacher to teach, we said to hell with this, and we started homeschooling them. Now, don't think that they sat at my table and I was like, now here's what an A looks like. We got them on Florida Virtual School. They're doing macroeconomics. They're learning Latin at like 12 and 14. I mean, they're finishing their school day in 2 hours. So with this public school system, it's a liberal madrasa. If you hate your kids, send them there. And I think that it's a dilapidated system where all the Obama droogies, forgive me, are brainwashed in there to receive the kooky policies of the progressives. It's not the school that we went to when we were young, man. This ain't Mayberry RFD. They've burned that mother to the ground.
But there have been a lot of shootings recently at a lot of these public schools. What do you attribute to that?
Lunatics on prescription meds that got flamed in a Facebook chat group, and they decide that they're going to take their rage out on innocent people. But if you were to if you were to have a janitor or the lunchroom lady with the lazy eye, if she could carry a gun on her person, and she had just a little Ruger 380 LCP Javier, and she whizzed a little 85 grain bullet by his noggin when he's getting out of his car in his black Dickie uniform with his AR-15, you know what? He's going to think twice about coming into that school. Where there's more guns, there's less crime. Period.
So you think more guns equals less violence?
Absolutely.
Do you agree with that, Javier?
100% I agree with him because look,
Should
it's a
kids start?
deterrent.
He said his daughter actually carries a
If
rifle.
she's legal of age.
Should students be carrying guns?
If they're legal age, well, obviously you're not going to put a gun in the hands of a 12-year-old or 10-year-old.
But let's say you're 18.
If you're 18 and you have a concealed weapons license, so be it.
And in fact, a movement has started. I believe there's a Dartmouth co-ed who wants to be able to carry on the Dartmouth campus. So in New Hampshire, this debate is continuing, and obviously it's a debate that we will continue, or a friendly discussion we will have in the days to come. Doug Giles, thanks for your time. Javier Manjarres, as always, good to have you here. I'm trying to get my R's rolled. And what is your take on this? Why don't you tweet us your comments on your Second Amendment rights at Newsmax TV, hashtag America's Forum. There's also newsmaxtv.com/comment. And don't forget Facebook, facebook.com/Newsmax. We're not slashing and burning, no. We're talking, discussing, and reporting, and we will continue America's Forum following this time out.